this log right here is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated and overlooked wood species out there. And I'm hoping today I can show you why that is. Now, not all logs that are the same wood species are all will look like this, but this one has a really good chance of having a ton of figure in it and some spalting. Now the log is in pretty rough shape, and I'll show you that here in just a sec. So I don't know how much usable or great wood I'm going to get out of it, but I think it could be nice. Here, I'll show you. You can see there's a ton of cracks going through this log all the way down, and it is checked to bits on the ends. But you can also see that there's, in a lot of different spots, there's just a little bit of zebra or these bumps on it, which is a good indicator that it's going to be curly. This whole area right here is all bumpy, and then you can even see where the crack is right here. It's cracked in a wavy line. So most likely this thing's going to have a ton of figure in it. I'm hoping for some spalting, and if we get any usable wood out of it, might be kind of cool. To get this thing ready to cut, all I'm going to do is center the piths. This side's about 7.5. That crack's really big, so it's hard to see exactly where the middle of the pith is, but it's about 7.5, 7.75. This side, sitting right on it, so we're about 7. So this end could come up about a 1/2 inch. And I'm trying to decide if I care enough to get it pushed up just a 1/2 inch. And I think I will. And we only need to come up a 1/2 inch, so stop there and measure it. All right, we're sitting at 7.5. We're at 7.5, so that's perfect. Dang it. Man, I really need to get a new battery for this thing. All right. get a little water splash done here and check out what we've got going. Not too bad. Definitely got a decent amount of figure going on. This section looks pretty cool. Big old bark inclusion going on. And as I mentioned, with all those little bumps coming out, that's what those bumps cause. All that figuring. Some cool ray looking figure going through there. Some more down here. Overall, I think it's gonna look pretty good, but we'll have to get her cut open more to find out. Oh yeah, got a ton of figuring on this top edge. Oh, I missed. Check out all that figuring. That looks awesome. I mean, up right here looks awesome. These not burly areas. And then up along this top corner. How can you not just love that? That's awesome. Now, if you're thinking, after looking at this wood, that it might be a maple, a curly maple, you'd be wrong. This is not a maple. In fact, it's a whole lot softer than a maple, softer than a soft maple. If that rings any bells, you might know what it is. It's pretty common around here, especially on farms. People grow quite a bit of them along the edges of their fields around here. That looks pretty good. Let's measure the piths real quick. Let's keep cutting. All right, you can see how there's really two piths here. So I can't really just pick one. I mean, this one is the more main one, but I kind of want to just split the two, and it's about 13 here. So I'm just going to leave it as is. The log's sitting looks like pretty flat, so we'll just leave it how it is and cut her up. Let's take a quick look at these before we keep moving. Still got some nice figuring going on throughout this. Kind of thought the other side that I cut was just a little nicer, but there's still some cool waves and stuff going through it. And then some little guys right there. But for these other logs, we've got kind of more of the same. Decent amount of spalting in some of them. If you've been guessing that this wood is poplar, you'd be right. This right here is just a regular old poplar tree. And I know that there's a lot of different kinds of poplars. This one in particular is one of those really tall poplars that people, at least around here, tend to plant on the edge of their farms. On the edge of fields, you'll see tons and tons of super tall trees, Every time it blows, they shed half their branches, it feels like, onto the road. But that's what this tree is. It's just a poplar. And it is a really soft wood. So you probably don't want to make it into a tabletop or a desktop. I wouldn't anyways. But there's a lot of cool purposes or uses for something that this. Wow. There are still a lot of cool uses for a log that's as pretty as this is. And what you can do is just make sure that where you use it on your piece isn't in a high damage area like a tabletop. I made a little, I think they call them kitchen helpers or kitchen stands, I don't know. Little stool type thing that my son can climb in. And I used poplars, the runners that kind of go in between the frame. And because they're not getting hit all the time, it's perfect. And it's stunning. It's out of the same tree or out of the same sets of trees that this wood came out of. And I'll show the picture of it. It's stunning. I think it is anyways. And if you were to disregard it because it's poplar, you're missing out. Missing out big time. There's some good stuff to be had in poplar, in my opinion. Another thing to mention is that poplar's really nice for doing things where you don't need a whole lot of strength or hardness. Like drawer boxes. You could make gorgeous drawer boxes out of this. And even where it's not curly and figured, it still looks really good. Let me show you here. You can see this stretch isn't necessarily real figured, although I have some cracks, probably need to go one more to get rid of these cracks, but this stretch right here just has spalting in it, almost like a pinkish with a bunch of black going through, and that would make gorgeous drawer boxes. It wouldn't be just a plain looking drawer box. Anyways, that's my TED Talk for today, is poplar's a wood too, even though it's soft. It's got great features. In some of the stuff I've built with it, it's actually, I pick it specifically because it's soft. You can drive nails and stuff into easier, and it will crack less. And it's really lightweight, so if you want something that doesn't weigh as much as oak on your what happened to my drill bit here? Oh, back here. Sorry. If you want something that doesn't weigh as much as oak, or even maple, elm weighs quite a bit, use poplar. It's super lightweight. And, as I'm trying to show you, it can be really pretty. All right, got the rest of these boards kind of laid out and some water splashed on them so you kind of see what's going on. These are the ones at the bottom side of the log that I was cutting, and they definitely turned out a lot more plain. You can see through here, not a whole lot of spalting or figure going on, but you can still see the grain. It's not a terrible looking wood. Down there, we've got a little bit more going on. How's it going, Finn? Doing good? Anyways, we've got some more spalting going on in these boards kind of further up the tree. A lot of figuring going on. Honestly, that kind of looks like elm to me, which is crazy, just randomly in the middle of the tree, but because it's darker there, but the rest of it's looking pretty good. Definitely not as much figure on these boards as we're at the very outside layers of the tree, but you can see there's quite a bit of something going on in here. And some more in that board. But anyways, I genuinely think sometimes poplar trees are overlooked. They can be really pretty, and there's a lot of different uses for them, and there's a lot of them around, so good stuff.